Hey everybody, Stephanie here with the Machine Gun Nest with our newest legal update. So I'm here today to talk to you about HR 1808, which is the infamous assault weapons ban. So at the moment, this assault weapons ban has only passed committee. So that means laws will start in a committee, whether that's in the House or the Senate. When it passes committee, that's when it then could go on the floor for a vote. And right now, this has just passed committee and it's now going to be presented. So first, this piece of legislation does define an assault weapon as essentially anything that is semi-automatic. This includes rifles and pistols. Interestingly, this is coming on the backs of the New York State case in the Supreme Court, which is now saying that every state must be a shall issue state. I do see this as something that was planned, but I don't necessarily think it's going to pass. So typically what the anti-gun agenda has been is present something extremely outlandish, present something so ridiculous that the next ask won't seem so bad in context of the first. And that's what we're seeing here. I mean, we know that just from some Rasmussen polls, from our NICS checks numbers, we see that people on both sides of the aisle are pro-gun. It just depends on their understanding. Typically, when presented with the facts about firearms, people who seem anti-gun actually aren't. They just don't know, and they are what I like to call a headline surfer, and they're just getting in their information from headlines rather than what's actually happening. And so here in this assault weapons ban, we see they are defining a semi-automatic assault weapon as anything, regardless of country of manufacture or caliber or ammunition accepted. It says a semi-automatic rifle that has a magazine that is not a fixed magazine, so a detachable magazine, and has any of the following. That would be a pistol grip, a forward grip, a folding telescoping or detachable stock, or is otherwise foldable or adjustable in a manner that operates to reduce the length, size, or any other dimension, or otherwise enhances the concealability of the weapon, a grenade launcher, a barrel shroud, a threaded barrel. If you're new to this, let me tell you something. This is it's laughable to anybody that's in the firearms world or you own a regular AR. Remember, this is a commonly owned firearm. I mean, it's hilarious to me. We have what they define as a scary assault weapon, right? But in my experience, if I show somebody a picture of a wooden hunting rifle and then what they're calling a scary assault weapon, most people say, oh, you know, I'm okay with the wooden hunting rifle. I'm okay with that, but I'm not okay with this other scary looking gun. I then go on to explain that they are functionally identical. One has more plastic on it and one is made of wood, but both release only one round per trigger pull. Having a vertical foregrip doesn't change the function of the firearm whatsoever. If I want to have my hand like this instead of like this, it's not changing the function of the firearm. If I have a telescoping stock because my arm is shorter, you're not changing the function of that firearm by reducing the length of it by a few inches. I mean, it's just absurd. This legislation just says, tell me you don't know anything about guns without telling me you don't know anything about guns. Although in this case, they're telling us that they don't know anything about guns. So if you're kind of on the fence and you're thinking, well, maybe this does seem reasonable, none of it actually makes sense. There's no reason why this is okay, but this isn't. I mean, think about it for yourself. If I'm able to attach a flashlight to it, does that change the function of it or make it more inherently dangerous? It doesn't. So this is just absurd. Now, like I said, I don't foresee it passing in its current state. They have put out the most outlandish thing, knowing it's just like any negotiation. You're going to throw out something big in the beginning, knowing that it's going to negotiate down. I don't know right now. I'm not a fortune teller. I can't tell you what I think that this is going to evolve and end up as, but I do know that they're going to apply some lessons learned to the previous 1994 assault weapons ban that had a 10-year sunset provision. And we know that when they present this again, it's not going to include something like that. I think that they're including pistols in this to try to enact some kind of backdoor gun control. I mean, it is blatant gun control, but backdoor gun control against the concealed carry laws that have just passed. I know here in Maryland, for example, this is unrelated to HR 1808. I do foresee some backdoor measures of gun control to limit that, but that's for another video at another time. This piece of legislation here, HR 1808, has 80 pages of firearms listed explicitly that would be banned. It's so extreme that many on the left they don't support this. I mean, here within our doors of the Machine Gun Nest, I'm proud to say we have people on both sides of the aisle coming in and purchasing these regular, commonly owned firearms. I'm going to keep you updated as this officially moves to the floor of the House. I'm going to be talking about who is supporting this, who isn't, but I wouldn't worry about it passing in its current state. What is concerning to me, though, toward the end of this bill, once you get past the 80 pages of firearms listed by name, they are allowing the government to still have these. They are allowing the grandfathering of these, which is something that I foresee in its next iteration. But they're also allowing police officers to have this. So if you're on the left, right, and you hate guns, please explain how on one hand you can say, oh, police are bad, but then on the same hand say you only want those people armed. If that's the case, you have a fundamental misunderstanding of what the Second Amendment is all about. And that's really sad, and I worry about the future of our country here. But fear not, it's not going to pass in its current iteration. I'm going to keep you updated as it changes, and if you have not subscribed, please hit subscribe to stay in the know.